Imagine publishing the only newspaper in your county that qualifies under state law to carry legal notices, the lifeblood of many local papers, as well as a necessary part of the checks sometimes needed within our local government. But only to have your county commissioners strip that away because they didn't like what you wrote. That's exactly what happened in Pender County, North Carolina, where the Post and Voice found itself punished for doing what local journalism is supposed to do: hold the powerful accountable. Now its publisher has taken the fight to federal court in a case that raises urgent First Amendment questions, not just for one small town weekly, but for local journalism everywhere. Hi, I'm Mike Blender. Today on EMP Reports, we're joined by Andy Pettigrew, publisher of the Post and Voice. Andy's paper has served the people of Pender County for decades, but now finds itself at the center of a national debate over government retaliation, press freedom, and the survival of independent local news. Andy, welcome to the show. We've never met, but you tipped me off on this thing, and you're working together with the North Carolina Press Association, correct?
That's correct. We've received a great deal of support from the North Carolina Press Association, both financially, some to help pay for our attorneys, and the attorneys that are representing us also represent the North Carolina Press Association and are media law experts. So we're in a good situation when it comes to our legal and our support from our state association.
Well, after the break, we'll ask Andy about the events that led up to this lawsuit, and if local governments across America start using advertising dollars as a weapon, what does that mean? Hey, stay with us. We'll be right back.
Hello, my name is Walter Hussman. Our family has been in the news business for over 100 years. Journalism includes two parts: reporting the news and providing opinions. But in recent years, there's been too much opinion appearing in news reporting. This has eroded public trust in news reporting to the lowest level of any U.S. institution. To address this, we started a nonprofit, the Center for Integrity in News Reporting.
The Center for Integrity in News Reporting, CFINR, is on a mission to rebuild public trust in journalism, one newsroom and one classroom at a time. We champion the effort to have news organizations and journalism schools create and prominently display their own clear, concise statements of core journalistic values. Learn more by visiting the Center for Integrity and News Reporting site at cfinr.org.
Okay, Andy, first of all, set the table for us, please. For those of us who aren't familiar with Pender County, give us a sense of the size of your newspaper, the community you serve, your history, etc. If you don't mind, give us the quick overview.
Pender County is one of the fastest growing, if not the fastest growing county in North Carolina. We're a coastal county. We're just north of Wilmington. We have beaches in our county. We have a large area as far as the size of the county. We're very diverse because in the eastern part, it's very highly populated along the beaches, and adjacent to that in the west, it's very rural. So we have a diverse county. We have a constant tension between the east and the west. We publish about 5,000 papers weekly.
Excellent.
There were 3 papers in our county at one time. We were the Pender Post, and we were that's who I worked for originally. And we, in 2012, absorbed the other 2 papers into the Pender Post and changed it to the Post and Voice. And my wife and I purchased the paper in 2013, and they've been operating it independently that way since then. So we're a fast-growing county, and we depend a lot on our legal advertisements, like any small newspaper would. And when this happened to us, it was quite a blow.
You're not the only one. You know that. I mean, we've had a temporary restraining order in Mississippi because a mayor didn't like an op-ed. We've had reporters basically, seized. This is a very interesting environment where some people are feeling emboldened due to the national discourse. So
I think that has a lot to do with it.
So let's assume that's the story. Now, take us back to April. What happened at that commissioners meeting that set this lawsuit in motion? Give us the details.
we've had some things transpiring in the county that obviously we were had some issues with. One of the biggest things was that our EMS and fire service has been handled by a nonprofit for 20 years maybe, and they've done a wonderful job with it. Well, the county decided they wanted to take that over, and they've done it very quickly and done a lot of it behind closed doors in closed session, what they shouldn't have done. And we spoke out against that. I mean, I don't basically have any problem with the county operating EMS and fire. I just didn't like the way they were doing it. I didn't think it was above board, and they certainly didn't get any input from the people. The people of Pender County had no input on this at all. So we began speaking out against that and doing some editorials against that and some other things. And really, Mike, I think what kicked it off was we started doing editorial cartoons. I have a couple of good artists, and we started doing some editorial cartoons, and that seemed to just set them off. They just couldn't handle that, and still can't. Our readers love it. Our readers absolutely love them, and have. It's really been a vehicle for getting people involved in politics.
And there's such a lack of editorial cartoons now, because when people cut costs, they lose that. Good for you. You've got some great designers. For those of you that are tripping on this podcast on a podcast platform, head to editorandpublisher.com/vodcast. We're going to pressure Andy to get a couple copies of those. Is that okay, Andy? We'll share them.
I'll be happy to. We're very proud of what we do.
No, we're going to share these, because this is a great story. Now, and this is what I researched, Watchman on the Wall. That's the column. Do you write that?
I write that. I started doing that. Like having been here I think I'm in my 18th year as editor. You know a lot of people. You hear a lot of things. You get a lot of contacts, and I just felt very strongly that people need to know what's going on behind the scenes. They need to know why. And I offer, and this is an opinion column, but I tell people and interpret what's going on from my perspective, and kind of pull the curtain back on what's actually happening. And that's what I basically use that for. And it has caused them a lot of heartburn, let's put it that way. My point is, we never had that problem before. It wasn't necessary in the past because we had a good, open relationship with our county government, and that ended. And it became very closed and a very lack of transparency. And all this was done out of necessity. Just to be honest with you, I liked it the way it was before. It was nice and easy and smooth. And we didn't have any problems. But now, due to the way the government is acting, the people need to know. And it has opened a lot of eyes among our residents.
It's funny. I was once told by a publisher on this very program that if I'm waiting in line at McDonald's and the guy in front of me loves me and the guy behind me hates me, I'm doing my job. But if neither of them heard of me, I'm out of a job. And the good news here is you're having impact. It's resounding. Now, I have to bring up a point that's been discussed in this show about the separation of opinion and enterprise journalism.
Yes.
You clearly label this as opinion.
Absolutely. Correct? It's all on our opinion page. We will comment. I will comment on the news of the day of what we have maybe on our front page, but it's very clearly labeled as opinion. There's no getting it confused.
I hosted this panel at the mega conference in Orlando where we discussed, should opinions stay in our lane? I mean, should we still do it? Because of a polarized audience, you may start pissing enough off, you lose them. B, the fear of retribution, which
that's right.
You just got. I mean,
oh boy.
You got nailed. And some publishers are right now listening to your story going, well, this guy's got, kahuntas, but I got too much on my plate. What say you in a world where, and it was an even split in the audience, we were polling 50-50 of these publishers, 50% were saying, I don't think it's worth it anymore. What say you to our local publishing news ecosystem about the need to continue that part of our mission?
Well, Mike, I'm not going to say it didn't hurt us financially. It certainly did. I've got daughter in college. I mean, it hurt us financially. But a lot of people rallied behind us. We picked up some more advertising from other advertisers. We got a lot of new subscriptions out of it, and that wasn't why I did it. And I'm not saying that's why we did it, because it was a lot easier before, and it brought a lot of new readers to us. I think it's, I'm not going to tell somebody else how to run their show, but this was important to me, that we're not going to be bullied, and that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to bully us into submission. And Mike, it's funny that when they were doing this, they were talking about this, and they had the county manager and the county attorney research all this. We were very plain about what the state law is. Here's the state law. Our county clerk of court, who really determines the newspaper of record, because it's all who the court will accept as far as legal advertising goes. And our clerk of court was very clear to them, saying, you can't use this paper in Wilmington because they're not published here. And there's only one paper that publishes in Pender County. These commissioners did this with the full knowledge of what they were doing, and they did it anyway. And just because spite.
Well, how's the suit going? I mean,
well, here's where we are. We filed in June, maybe. Filed
right.
in federal court in Wilmington. They have until October to respond. They had difficulty finding an attorney that would take it for obvious reasons, and they finally did. So that's kind of where we are.
You feel confident? Does it look?
Absolutely. We feel very confident. We have the best media law attorneys in the state, and they were leading the way on this, and the North Carolina Press Association from the very beginning. Because I'm working newspaper business. I'm not an attorney. They're the ones that said this is a strong, very, very strong case. Mike, things can turn. We've got an election coming up it'll be in May, because around here it's the primary that decides things. It's not the November election, because
of course
most of them run unopposed. But if it drags out that long, we're liable to have a whole new set of commissioners that will settle it, as opposed to keep on fighting.
It's funny. At the time of this recording, I got to date stamp this, because some people listen. You're going to be episode 303, I think. That's how long we've been doing this show. Some people go back 2 years, and listen to them. But at the time of this, Jimmy Kimmel just got canceled and then reestablished. Mm-hmm. And now his audience has almost doubled. Some of the top stars in the world are on a show. I'm not taking a side here. I'm just saying, because the spotlight was shown on him, he has become more popular than ever. Do you feel, and I'm just asking your opinion, the commissioner that was pissed at you for the cartoons, do you think it's backfiring a little?
It's completely backfiring. We've had the commissioner, I sent you a photograph of the one that was waving the newspaper around. This particular commissioner has just raged against us and has tried all sorts of things, and has just made a fool out of himself in doing this. And we are stronger than we've been in years because of this. And the funny thing is, Mike,
I'm sorry, but
and the funny thing is that they don't have the ability to proclaim who is which paper is the one of record. They think they do, but they don't, because the attorneys won't accept it, because the attorneys know that they can't file these legal announcements with a paper that the clerk of court won't accept.
All right, 2 more questions, because we got to keep this tight at 20 or people fall asleep. Today's I got to ask this: has there been any threats? Have you felt any pressure beyond just the written words and the dialogue? Have you?
No, not really. We have a tremendous amount of public support. So really, the government, the commissioners are very much in a minority, but they're hanging tough. They're stubborn.
Finally, advice you give right now to the thousands of local news publishers who are listening to this, saying bravo to you, but I don't know if I used the term before Kahuntas to do this. What advice do you give?
We have to decide why we're in this business. And I'm not here, and our newspaper is not here to be a cheerleader for government. We're not here to be a newsletter for county government. We're here to hold them accountable and be a watchdog, if you will, for the people that read us, and my job, I think, is to help interpret what's happening to them, because they don't watch these meetings. I wouldn't watch the meetings if I didn't have to, because they're boring. But they don't watch them, and they need somebody to tell them what's going on, and that's what we do. And I feel very, very strongly about that. We're not here to just simply rubber stamp everything that happens in the government. Are there consequences to it sometimes? Never dreamed we'd be in this situation based on the good relationship we have with our county for so long. But yes, we're suffering those consequences right now. But we've scaled back a little bit and done what we had to do to keep operating. And it has been, we have picked up a lot of new readers and a lot of support from the county. So that's the side of the ball I'd rather be on. Than be on the side where you do what they say. And maybe that's just my personality, Mike.
Because I'm going to quote for you a guest that was on 2 episodes before you, Bob Corn Revere, First Amendment attorney. He's argued in front of the Supreme Court. He represents a nonprofit called FIRE that would represent, now is in business of trying to represent people like you. He actually was an attorney for the FCC in the 90s, and he looked into the camera and he said, "A backbone is a terrible thing to waste." And I'm thinking of him when I'm listening to you. I just want to say this has been a real pleasure. We're going to follow this fight, and I want to be the first to report out, if you don't mind, the result of this lawsuit. Just let us know. Andy Pettigrew, publisher of the Pender County, North Carolina Post and Voice. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your belief in what we're supposed to be doing as an industry and doing it. And we really appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.